Now, fighting has cost thousands of lives and triggered a humanitarian crisis that affects millions. On Wednesday, rights group Amnesty International warned that Ethiopian soldiers and allied forces have been using rape as a weapon of war. Investigators believe dozens of women were abused in order to humiliate the Tigrayans. Those documenting testimonies have said that the accounts of the atrocities were some of the worst that they'd come across in their careers.
We've been able to collect the information about the sexual violence committed within the Tigray region of Ethiopia by all the forces that have been operating, the Ethiopian government forces and the allied militias, as well as the Eritrean forces that have been operating in support of the Ethiopian army in the region. And we've collected this information by traveling to the refugee camps in Sudan, where I was able to interview a number of survivors, but also doctors, midwives and nurses who are today refugees in Sudan from Tigray, but who at the beginning of the conflicts were working in Tigray and were assisting some of the victims of rape. As well, we interviewed dozens and dozens of women and girls, as well as humanitarian and medical workers in Tigray by phone, because the Ethiopian government has not allowed Amnesty International or any other international human rights organization or any other investigators into Tigray since the beginning of the conflict. The kind of sexual violence that has been perpetrated is shocking, both in terms of the scale, but also the gravity, the type of torture that has been inflicted on women and girls, as well as gang rapes, which has been perpetrated in many of the cases, sexual slavery, that is, several women and girls that we interviewed had been held for days and weeks, during which they were raped by multiple perpetrators and subjected to other forms of torture, including beatings, mutilations, as well as ethnic slurs and death threats on them and on their families. We're not talking about isolated cases or about some rotten apples in within the forces, but rather that all the forces that were operating on behalf of the Ethiopian government in the Tigray region clearly felt right from the beginning and throughout the conflict that they could carry out such atrocities with absolute impunity.